Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome once again to the United Regional Chamber's weekly update. We try to bring you on some interesting guests and some interesting subjects each week, and we appreciate you tuning in. So today, my guest is Miss Nora Cryan from Confidence Fitness, and we're going to talk about all the good stuff that you eat between Thanksgiving and Christmas. To me, that puts me on the helium diet. But Nora's going to give us some tips that you don't have to jump on the bandwagon with me. So, welcome, Nora. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Jack.
All right. First off, tell us a little bit about Nora.
So I am the co-owner of Confidence Personal Training. We formerly Confidence Fitness. So my husband Sean and I run that. We're a personal training studio, and we love to help our members feel strong and healthy and navigate, especially these times of year when you can get a little less healthy.
Right. But tell us what Nora did before she jumped in here with Sean.
So I used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So I was a middle school teacher for 15 years. COVID was my last year for that, and then so I taught middle school math and social studies. It was great while it was great, and then I decided to pivot.
Then you decided to deal with the big child named Sean.
Yep.
Well, a lot of people struggle to stay healthy during the holiday season. From your perspective as a coach and the studio owner, what are the biggest challenges people face this time of year and what actually helps?
Yeah. So when it comes to the holiday season, research shows that the average American gains between 2 and 5 pounds of weight between Thanksgiving and the New Year. And then even more striking, most people don't lose that weight at some point after that. So if you think about that over 10 years, that's 20 to 50 extra pounds that you gain in 6 week chunks over the course of a decade. So some of the best ways to kind of avoid that is to just stay consistent through the holiday season. I know it's easier said than done, but we provide a lot of support for that here at Confidence Personal Training. But some things that you can do, for viewers at home, is just kind of planning out how you want to indulge and where you don't necessarily need to indulge through the holiday season. So where people tend to get into the most trouble is, when they just go a little off track and then throw in the towel and say, "Oh, I'll figure it out in the new year," and by then it's too late because,
Yeah.
like we said, the research shows that you're probably not gonna lose it at that point. So, yeah, those are the biggest challenges we see.
That 2 to 5 pounds, I put that on Thanksgiving afternoon with the pies and the cookies and everything else. So that
Right.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, it's about indulging where you want to, where it's really important to you to maybe enjoy those traditions, those foods, but then getting back on track when you need to get back on track, and not just letting it go through the whole 6 weeks.
Well, one thing that's a little bit unique about your studio, it's known for helping busy adults over 40, to stay active. What do
Mhm.
you see happening in our local community in terms of health, and how is Confidence Personal Training working to support that?
Yeah. So, when it comes to the over 40 crowd, we're seeing a lot of people who are shifting the focus that they're looking for. So, where a few years ago we were seeing most people just, asking about weight loss. And now, while people might have weight loss goals, that's not necessarily everybody's goal. A lot of people are realizing that muscle is super important, and being strong as they get older is super important, and just being able to move well and be healthy. So we're seeing a lot of people that are looking for that guidance to just figure out how to keep their muscle. We lose muscle at such a faster rate as we get older, but it's not inevitable. There are ways to, preserve and increase the amount of muscle you have. So we see a lot of people that are really tapping into that, because they see their parents getting older and declining, and they don't want to necessarily end up in that place. They want to be more independent as they get into their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. So we're finding that that's the thing that we're seeing a new focus on right now is just longevity and quality of life into your older decades.
I know that the studio really focuses on the over 40 crowd, but I want the folks to know that you and Sean really chip in with some of the younger high school kids to teach them strength training because that's where they learn the proper habits, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We did train high school and middle school athletes for a long time. We have shifted focus primarily to our adults right now, but super important for the youth athletes to get strong as well. It's great for injury prevention, performance, and just being more explosive on the field and like I said, preventing injuries and being safe. So a lot of that can be neglected with the younger kids. There's been that kind of old school thought that strength training isn't necessarily safe for kids under a certain age, but newer research shows that that's not actually true, and that it's good for kids to start learning the basics of strength training and mobility, agility, all those kinds of things in a good strength training program from an earlier age.
Well, now with the holidays coming up, we're going to have a little bit of a challenge, folks. Um, Nora and John are starting Project Zero. Okay, and Project Zero is something they're bringing back this year. They've done it in the past. So, can you explain what that is and why it's so effective during the holidays?
Yeah, so Project Zero came about. So the idea was to gain 0 pounds over the holidays. So that's something that a lot of us struggle with, like we talked about. And we wanted to give our members some tools to help them stay on track through the holidays. So basically, Project Zero is a 6-week challenge where we give our members healthy recipes. We give them a meal prep checklist, a travel workout guide, and then weekly tips and motivational support throughout those 6 weeks so that they can stay on track. And it's really all about showing them how to be more mindful and where they indulge and pulling back a little bit when they don't necessarily need to indulge. So it's just a way to be more mindful through the holidays. It's become kind of a fan favorite. Our members, we have a few members that have literally been asking me since October about when it's going to start because they love it. They find they can still enjoy their holiday season, but still be successful and go into the new year more confident.
Well, it's difficult for all of us during that time because you go to different either Christmas parties or family parties, and
Hmm.
there's all stuff floating around, and somebody walks by you with a tray. You're tempted to jump in there, but part of Project Zero, you're also partnering with the Hebron Food Pantry again this year.
Hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about the charitable side of your program and why giving back is so important to you and Sean?
Yeah, so we used to do the Project Zero challenge. It was just a paid challenge for our members, but last year, I think we had gotten word that the Hebron Food Pantry had stopped accepting applications for families because they were just short on resources. So we said, there's got to be something we can do. So we decided to make Project Zero by donation, and our members were incredibly generous, and they gave what they felt was fair for the service, and we raised over $700 last year to give to the food pantry. So we're hoping to top 800 this year. One of our core values as a business is community engagement, and we love to find those opportunities to give back. Like whether it's sponsoring a local sports team. We do the toy drive for Christmases for kids every year, and now we're really happy to be able to support the food pantry as well through this.
You also jumped onto the Santa Foundation because you and Sean donated there too. The two
Yep.
of you have been very, very generous in the amount of time that we've worked together, and I forget how long that's been. Um,
Long enough to forget.
okay, thank you. Uh, well, for someone watching who's feeling a little bit overwhelmed or unsure where to start, what's one or two pieces of advice you can give them to feel healthier and more energized, before the new year?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things is planning. So, taking a look at, you could look at it from a larger scale, like your overall holiday season. Where are the big events that you're going to want to indulge and enjoy yourself, and plan around that? So maybe, you've got the big office Christmas party one night, and, so you're going to eat really healthy the rest of the day. You're going to make sure you move your body a little bit, and then making sure to have a consistent training routine or some sort of fitness, whether all you're doing right now is walking or if you do some strength training, having a consistent routine, and planning around those events where you do want to let loose a little bit and enjoy yourself. Another thing that is really helpful going into like those party type atmospheres where you're going to have those trays that come by, or, the cookies and things, is making sure you're getting a nice, healthy protein snack before you head out the door. So you're not going there ravenous. You're feeling satiated, and you're not going to necessarily eat too many treats. You might still enjoy a few, but you're not going to go completely off the rails if you don't go into it super hungry.
All right. So, how can somebody get involved with Project Zero?
Yeah, so you can get in touch with us. You can call our office. The number is 774-252-7970, or you can text us and just let us know that you'd like to get into Project Zero. We are donating $25 of every new registration, so any new members, it's an automatic $25 donation to the food pantry. So you can call, or you can email me. I think my email's right there on the screen too.
Yep. All right, and I know I don't think I'm letting the cat out of the bag on this one, but I understand you're ready for a move.
Yes, we will be moving to North Attleboro in the new year. So, yeah, big move from Attleboro to North. We'll be at 21 East Street in the coming year.
And it's going to more than double your space, I believe.
Not quite double, but it's definitely going to make it bigger. It'll be much more accessible, more visible, easy to find than where
Yes.
we are right now. So, yeah, we're really excited for the move and to be able to provide a more elevated facility for our members.
Well, as we come to the close of the show, can you give us one or two more tips for people who are going to these office parties, who are going to the family parties, what they should be aware of and be careful for?
Yeah, so alcohol's a big one. So we all like to indulge a little extra during the holidays. Um, but if maybe it's alternating an alcoholic drink with some water, because the more alcohol you have, the less inhibited you are, the more likely you are to overeat other treats as well. So that's one way you can kind of keep things under wraps a little bit more. And then another thing is just to make sure you move. So if you do have a party coming up, find a time in that day before that event where you can get out for a walk, get a workout in. And then another idea too is, if you bring something healthy, then you'll have a healthy option. So if it's the kind of party where it's more potluck, find a healthy recipe that you'll enjoy, that you'll be able to at least have something healthy to eat at the party. And then might also influence other people at the party to eat something a little healthier too. You might indulge in the other snacks as well, but at least if you've got that veggie platter, whatever it is that you decide to bring, you'll have that as an option too.
Awesome. Well, Nora Cryan, thank you very much for taking the time to come on the show today. We hope you folks picked up a tip or two, and you're not going to be like me, being on that helium diet during the holidays. But we really appreciate you. Thank you for your membership for as many years as we've been together. I truly appreciate it. And folks, if you have a question, shoot an email, pick up the phone. They'll answer any questions. There's not an obligation. They're looking to make our community more healthy.
Absolutely, Jack. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Everybody, please stay safe.